Well, hello guys, and welcome back to another Star vs. the Forces of Evil review. In this episode, we've got the standard 2 episodes, Page Turner and Naysaya. Let's just get right into it. So, the first episode, in Page Turner, it starts off, Glosseric's sifting through a bag of chips and tells Star, like, oh, you should go practice the book, right? Go... like, find a spell, right? So she searches through and finds this, like, skull page with all these chains. And Glosseric's like, nope, you can't do that. But he finds this perfect chip, and so Star steals it and uses it as a bargaining piece. So they get in a little... So, Star convinces Glosseric to open the page so that she can basically take a peek at it. But then he gets called by the bureaucracy of magic and gets forced over there. So he's over at the bureaucracy of magic and he runs into Sean. Sean reminds me of the moose from Happy Tree Friends. I'm just going to be honest. Right? So he has to go through there because the Magic High Council, I know that's not what they're called, but it's basically the same thing, wants to see him. Meanwhile, Star is back at home with Glosseric's floating body. Which, okay. And the book is left open. You know where this was going. I was honestly kind of hoping that Star wasn't going to open the book. Right? That she wasn't going to read it. As anticlimactic as that may have been, I would have totally been down for it, honestly. So, there's basically a bunch... I can't tell if there were a bunch of versions of Sean or if he kept moving everywheres. But Glosseric has to go through the magic metal detector, and of course it goes horribly. It's just like all airport security. He goes to get into the elevator, and there's this weird magic guy with all these magic items, and yeah, the magic elevator is just not working, because as we learn, everything is on the fritz in the bureaucracy of magic. Nothing is working. So he gets off the elevator and heads over to the stairs, right? We cut back to Star and Marco, and Star has this loophole where Glosseric told her that she couldn't open it, but never said that Marco couldn't open it. It is technically a loophole. Again, I like the idea of her not opening it at all, right? Respecting. Of course, that's not how this works, though. Glosseric gets mad and shoots the first floor all the way up to the top floor, and they connect perfectly. And we get to meet the Magic High Council. I actually really like the Magic High Council. They're a lot of fun. We get this guy with a crystal head and a snake body who's really mad at Glosseric, and they have a fight. That was actually pretty good. I liked it. I like the snake crystal guy. Yeah, no, I'm down for this. It's funny because this episode did not start in my favor. It's a Glosseric episode. I hate Glosseric. So all of a sudden, near the end here, it really started to shift. We have this goat guy, and there's this guy who's a crystal orb, and we learn that all magic in the universe is disappearing, right? It's being drained somewheres. So, Moon, Star's mom, comes in and is like, I want you to accelerate Star's training, right? She has to be prepared for this. And Glosseric's like, no, you can't do that. Every queen tells me, oh, this isn't how you trained me, right? They always try to boss me around, but I'm training your daughter differently than I trained you because you are different. This is a great moral. I loved this. I loved how this was delivered. Everything about this was great. And then Glosseric's like, oh, you left Star with... I unlocked Eclipse Queen of Darkness's pages, and then you pulled me here. This is your fault, not mine. And he's right. And yeah, this was... I loved this. This saved the episode. Well, it's not like it was that bad, but... yeah, no, this was great. So well done. And then we cut back to Star, and it's like, so did you read the pages? And she's like, yeah, I didn't really care for them, honestly. Evil, darkness, forces of evil, and all that jazz. Not really my thing. Great. But Marco's affected by it. Marco basically turns all evil, vortexes, and all that. Great ending gag. And they're like, yeah, we can fix this. Again, really good. It really turned itself around near the end, and I like that. And there's a second episode, Naysaya. So it starts off, Marco's confessed love to Jackie in a previous episode. And I'll get to the plot hole here in a minute. But, so now he wants to ask Jackie out on a date. But he keeps spouting out the truth, right? It's not working. Jackie, every time he gets close to Jackie, he starts like basically spilling his guts. And I was like, oh, we're going to have a truth teeth episode. You know what I mean, right? Where the character can't lie and it's probably Star's fault. And yeah, he basically spills food on a football player, and then or maybe it was a swimming guy, actually. And he's like, oh, I feel bad if you don't punch me in the face. So he basically gave himself a black eye. And then he's like, what is wrong with me? And then he starts like freaking out, and Jana's just like, I want to see where this goes. Jana is still the best. Oh my god. It's great. So this little head grows out of Marco's neck, the Naysayer. So it's like, oh, we're getting that second head episode. We've seen this a bunch before. I can't think of any good examples. Well, I know Family Guy and Futurama both did episodes like this. But yeah. So Jana, of course, she keeps all of her secret stuff in the back of Marco's locker. Her a folklore and witchcraft book. So they find the Naysayer in the book, and we find out it's a demon curse, right? And it only appears when someone's confessing to their true love. Interesting. But if it only appears when confessing to your true love, why didn't it show up in the episode Sleepover? Right? You see the problem here. But they go to Tom, and we learn the curse was put on way back in Blood Moon Ball, and that he hasn't asked anyone out since then, so it never took effect. So Marco decides, and it'll only go away once he reveals all of his insecurities, and it's like, oh. Because Marco's got a lot of insecurities. He's like Jake. But, yeah, so Marco decides to lock himself in his room, never coming out. Star gives him a little finger talk, and he decides to bribe the Naysayer. Great, because the Naysayers always want to have cereal, so he gives it cereal, and it's like, oh, he's gonna bribe it to get it on his side. But of course the Naysayer takes the bribe, but doesn't actually go through with it, because he wears a scarf to hide it and goes to try to ask Jackie out on a date, and it doesn't work. So he just spends this long period of time confessing all of his insecurities to Jackie. He goes through this sort of existential crisis, right, about how we're all alone in the universe and nothing really matters, and what's the point of it all, but let's all make the best of what we have. But yeah, and it works, weirdly enough. Yeah, there's a group going to the movies on Friday, and Marco gets invited along. Okay, I doubt that's how it actually work in real life, but whatever. It actually reminds me, there's a thing, I don't know if the research on it or anything, but it's like, oh, if two people confess their insecurities to one another for like half an hour, and then just make eye contact for like a certain period of time, they'll like fall in love, or so. It was something, I read that somewheres, I don't know, again, anything backing it up, but that's what I think they were going for, maybe. And yeah, then Star and Jana congratulate him. And Jana's like, if you need a divorce lawyer, you know who to call. Great. And they go to the movies, and yeah, everything works out. For the most part. It was great. And we finally broke the streak. 2 great episodes within a row. They were funny. Well, Naysayer was funny, and Paige Turner had a great moral. That just, I loved it. And yeah, and as far as I know, next week's episode is the season finale. I could be wrong, but that's what it looks like. I don't know, we'll see. But I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.